Hi there, this is Jennifer with Brome Fields, and today I am working on a waffle stitch hat. And I did this on the stitch on the 100 Days of Knit Stitches. I did it knit flat, and then I think about a year or two later I did it in the round, and I think I knit a cowl, yeah. And I wanted to try this with a hat. It gives a nice thick stitch, and I just love how it comes out. Super pretty, nice squish to it. Now I tested this stitch with about 6 other yarns, and I would recommend trying it with different yarns before you pick the yarn you want to use, because I thought some of them looked better than others. So something like the homespun or a thick and thin kind of yarn, it didn't look very good because you didn't get the stitch variation or definition in it. So it feels like better with size 6 knitting needles. And then I used Lion Brand Heartland with a size 9, and it looked pretty nice too. I can't remember what else I tried. It's actually been a couple months I've been working on this. And with all the practice, with all those different yarns, I feel like it was really necessary to get this right, because when you mess up, it's obvious and it's hard to correct. I did mess up on one spot. Oh, and it does, so whenever I have, this is my 0 spot. So it does have a seam. It looks like a seam here, which I will probably go back and seam it so it's not noticeable. But right here you can tell that I messed up on one row for about 6 stitches, and it took me 2 rows to correct it. So just so you know, that's what it looks like when you mess up and you don't go back and fix it. It's not terrible, but it's not perfect either. But where it is perfect, it's absolutely awesome. But I just wanted to leave that in there so you could see what it looked like. It does look a little messy, but unless somebody's really looking at it, you're really not going to notice it too much. And you could put it in the back under the slouch. Now, this doesn't have a very tall brim on it. I think next time I would like to get 2 skeins and make it a fold over brim, because that's just my personal preference. But I wasn't sure how much yarn it was going to take, so then I just play it safe and go with a short brim. But I'm going to knit a little bit. Once you have the practice on doing this, so I'm just going to specify you need to practice. So once your fingers build that muscle memory, I found this pattern, I just got to where I didn't want to set it down. It was very meditative and relaxing once I knew how to look at my stitches and read the pattern without thinking about it really. I just memorized it and became comfortable with it. And that takes a lot of practice. So maybe just plan on knitting a couple of hats, and the second or third one will come out quote unquote perfect, or you just know what you're looking for. So on this row, so I have a little ways to go before I get to my stitch marker. So I wanted to show you, it's pretty much a 2-row repeat. Pretty much, it is a 2-row repeat. So whenever you have these bumps, so these purl stitches, you're going to knit. This first stitch here just has 1 loop. This one here is super thick, so it has 2 loops. So whenever you're on your purl side, you're going to do the knits. When there's just 1 bar here, you're going to knit 1 below. And then where you have your double bar, you're just going to knit that stitch. and it's those 2 stitches on repeat. So we're going to knit 1 below, knit 1, knit 1 below, knit 1. And we're going into under that bar into the stitch below, and then knit 1 regular, knit 1 below, knit 1, knit 1 below, knit 1. And I found this one to be, at first, I would say the first half of the hat, I like chanted with it so that I didn't mess up, and I still messed up. But now I feel like I can just pick it up and put it down, and I can read the pattern just by looking at my hat, which is, in my book, ideal. And I do feel like my hands have that muscle memory because I've done it so much. So I just feel comfortable and confident that I'm doing it right now, when in the beginning I wasn't. All right, so we're slipping our stitch marker. So now we have the knit stitches. So that means we're going to purl. So this first stitch is normal. So we're going to purl it. But this one here has this extra arm or leg. So we're going to lift it up and over so it's kind of a double stitch, and we're going to purl it. And then we're going to purl the next stitch, and we're going to pick up this extra arm, lift it over the needle, and purl. And we're doing that on repeat. Now you can do it like this, or you can use your left needle if that's more comfortable to pick up that extra bar. There we go. And I found that I would switch it up within the pattern just depending on if like my hands hurt. Because if you notice, I'm using my 3rd finger here to hold my stitches in place. But I would say I did it more with my right needle because that's my muscle memory. So I'm just doing it without thinking about it. So I really, really have enjoyed doing this stitch. I think it would make, well, actually it was my daughter. I showed her it, this hat, and she's like, oh my gosh, that would make an awesome baby blanket. I will say that this stitch really eats up your yarn. So I would double up, maybe not quite double up, but maybe use a 1/3 more than you think you might need. If you're used to using 3 skeins on a baby blanket, maybe get 5 to make it the same size, because it really does eat up the yarn, because it's almost like it's a double thickness. It's just absolutely awesome. So I hope you guys enjoy this stitch and this hat and the little tips, and you guys can create your own. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.